treat. Now on stage is the Purple Band, and I would like to introduce you to their conductor, Dr. Russell Logan. Dr. Logan is a native of Wetumpka, Alabama, as am I, proud native of Wetumpka. He attended the Elmore County Band, where his directors were Mr. Truman Welch and Dr. Ed Jones. He attended Auburn University and earned his Bachelor of Science in Music Education and Masters of Music in Trombone Performance. Following this, he attended the University of Mississippi, where he was awarded the Doctor of Arts in Music Theory. Dr. Logan has served as Director of Bands at Monroe Academy in Georgia, Victoria High School in Texas, and at Auburn High School in Auburn, Alabama. That's where I got to see his bands, and I always made it a point to go listen to his bands whenever they performed, because they were incredible. He also served as Director of Bands and Music Theory instructor at Huntington College in Montgomery. Currently, he is working at Auburn University teaching all levels of music theory and aural skills. He's the principal trombonist and executive board chair of the Alabama Winds Concert Band. If you've not heard them, take advantage of that whenever you can. They're a wonderful group. He is active as a guest conductor, an adjudicator, and clinician all over the state. He is a member of every affiliation you can be with, every organization. But here's the kicker. In 2019, he was voted into the Alabama Bandmasters Hall of Fame. That's no small feat. That's a big thing in our state. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Russell Logan and the Purple Band.
Thank you for staying around to listen to the Purple Band this afternoon. We've got 3 pieces to play for you. Our first piece, just a little bit about our first piece, is a piece called Fantasy Sketches. It means quite a bit to me personally. Dr. Johnny Vinson, who is an assistant director and director of bands at Auburn University for a long time, is a very prolific composer also. And when I retired from Auburn High School in 2013, the band parents in the city schools contacted Dr. Vinson and asked him if he would write a piece honoring my retirement. And he said, sure, I will. So we've been friends for a long time, so he got with me and said, hey, they've asked me to write a piece for your retirement. What should I write? And I said, you're the composer, write what you want. And he said, no, I want to have something that's sort of special to you. And so the next week we got together, and I said, look, you know, we've talked about this all the time. I read a lot, and mostly what I read are fantasy books. And I said, you know, I've told you, if it's got wizard, elves, and talking animals in it, I will read it. So he composed a piece, a 3-movement piece, and that's what we're about to play for you right now, Fantasy Sketches. And the first movement is called Wizards, the second movement is called Elves, and the third movement is Talking Animals. So I hope you enjoy Dr. Vinson's piece, Fantasy Sketches. All right, thank you. I just love that piece, and I was so happy when Dr. Benson created it in my honor, and it's everything that I told him that I liked. So I appreciate that. The next piece is a slow creep piece. This is from the composer from the 40s and 50s. It's an African-American female composer named Florence Price. She was an extremely popular composer back during that time. She was the first African-American female to ever have a selection that she wrote, played by an American symphony, a major symphony. Chicago Symphony played her Symphony Number 1 in E flat, I believe was what it was called. But this is a slow lyrical piece called The Old Boatman. Hope you enjoy it.
Ladies and gentlemen, each time we do the honor band, we ask our purple band conductor to select two students who he feels like have done an outstanding job, and they receive what is called the Director's Choice Award. What this award actually is should that student come to the University of North Alabama and audition for a band scholarship or band performance award, this certificate guarantees them an extra $1,000 their first year. It's a one-time award for their first year, so whatever they score and earn in their audition, they get an extra $1,000 their first year. We have two students that have been selected by Dr. Logan. Our first one goes to Mr. Samuel Butte on saxophone. goes to Taurus Smith on oboe.
Well, one final piece also, but I'd like to second what the other directors have said. I appreciate the invitation to come up and conduct these students this weekend. I'm from East Central Alabama. I don't get up in this area of the country very often, but over the last year and a half, I've been up here 3 times. So that's probably more times I've been up here my entire career. So I appreciate them, Dr. Jones and the staff here inviting me up. The students have been great, just great. I've kind of challenged them with the program, and they've come through with it, and they've been very respectful in rehearsals, and they've done what I've asked them to do and everything. So thank you, band directors, if any of the band directors here. Thank you, parents and grandparents, or whoever have been their mentors in their lives. So I appreciate everything. We have one more piece to do for you. This is a piece called Homeward Shores. It's by one of the composers du jour right now, a guy named Randall Standridge. He writes a lot of music for band. I heard one of the other bands earlier in the year play this, and I really liked it. What it's supposed to depict, sort of a programmatic piece. There's this group of fishermen that go out on the Great Lakes, and they go fishing, and it starts at dawn, and you can hear the rolling of the waves a little bit, and the sun coming up and everything, and then you can hear the waves get a little rougher and everything, and then it winds up with them coming back home in the evening from fishing out on one of the Great Lakes. So this is Homeward Shores by Randall Standridge, and again, thank you so very much for coming out and supporting these students today. Hope you enjoy it.
Thank